Force.
Yes, I was trying to speak to Captain Lee Dunbar in regard to a public statement he made, just to give my opinion about him possibly making a correlation into or causation, or taking correlation and making it into causation. And I just wanted to state that I don't really see the logical consistency of that statement, and I just wanted to provide my opinion on that statement.
Just hold on. Who's calling?
Dustin. It's nobody he knows. It was just a public statement.
Hello?
Hello, how are you? Is this Captain Lee Dunbar?
Sir.
Yes, I was reading a news article, and I noticed a statement that somewhat concerned me, and I just wanted to give my input on that statement. It was in regards to significant seizure of cannabis, which I don't care about that. That's your job. I expect that, and I expect you to do that. Though towards the end of this, they quoted a statement by you in which you claimed it was a dangerous drug and it wasn't harmless and it wasn't victimless, but you followed this from data from heroin, people that had used heroin and such. However, the logical consistency, I didn't see it because it was my understanding that this is due to the war on drugs and the black market dealers, similar to the prohibition of alcohol, into the 20s and 30s. So I don't believe that this was an accurate statement that you had made, or if it is, it's not really confirmed where it can be made definitively, as there's, like I said, a counter-argument that the war on drugs itself is what created that situation, because people would have black market things, would generally have other black market things, and then that's kind of how you get into that circle. So it was my understanding that that was the reason, similar to, like, let's say somebody pirated music, then they have access to games and movies because they all come from the same source. So it was my understanding that the prohibition of cannabis itself is what made it seem that way, rather than it actually being dangerous itself. And I just wanted to make that known, that I had this stance and I had this logical argument towards that stance that you have. And I just wanted to make you aware of that there's another possibility other than the correlation equaling causation thing that you have chosen, stance you've chosen to make. But you're totally entitled to that stance. Is your First Amendment right?
No, absolutely. And just as you are too. That's correct. Yep.
Yep. I just wanted to make it known that there's other possibilities. And then if we look back at history, this was it was actually elementary school history that talked about prohibition, and we saw the side effects of that. Yeah, I'm still there. Is my phone breaking up?
Well, your name of the person is Dusty?
Dustin. It is Dustin, sir.
Dustin. Okay. All right. I thought it was come across as Dusty. But, yeah, Dustin, we derive that data. That's data that we gather because we respond to every heroin overdose, whether it's fatal or non-fatal. Mm-hmm. And those are approximately 165 heroin overdose victims that conveyed to us that their drug addiction cycle started with marijuana, and the majority of those at a very young age.
Oh, and I believe it did, and I believe that that's from prohibition. As in, when people have marijuana, do they just have marijuana?
No. What are you saying? Why are you saying that's because of prohibition? Whether it was prohibited or it was completely legal, I don't understand it. The people are saying to us that they believe that it was part of their gateway into heroin and opiates.
And they may believe that, but, I can believe that there's tap dancing elves outside. That doesn't make it true. But what I'm saying is the prohibition of the product led to them having access to other things as well. So, it may be, it is, and it was, but that doesn't mean it inherently always will be.
That doesn't make any sense. You're saying the prohibition to the availability. Prohibition is supposed to provide a shortage of the supply. So if you're pro-marijuana and pro-legalization, then marijuana would be more prolific and more readily available.
Yeah, but the problem is not that it's readily available. The problem that you stated was it readily available to children or to younger people that through these circles. But what I'm saying is if somebody had marijuana, they didn't usually just have marijuana, and I'm sure you've experienced this as well. So when you get marijuana, which is easy to get, it grows fast, you can get it all over the place, okay, then these same people that have access to this are in these circles where they start messing with other things. So it's my understanding that because of the prohibition, that led to only certain circles or certain people having it, and those were generally bad people as a result of the prohibition, not as much as a result of it being the cannabis itself that led there. So I think there's a little bit of truth to both sides, but I think the reasoning is not as it's made out to be. I think the prohibition itself led to that being the situation rather than the plan itself leading to that situation, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Have you gone down to Annapolis to speak in any of the open sessions with the marijuana legislation, whether it's against law enforcement, stricter policies on marijuana use and possession, or the pro-marijuana lobbying group?
I'll tell you this. No, I have not, but I'm looking into it now because I just had some paraphernalia that's legal as of February 20th, 2016, SB 517, seized recently illegally because they didn't know. So, as of recently, I've been trying to put the word out there because that was crazy and that shouldn't have happened because I've received it back since then. But that's that type of thing. So now I'm like, wait, people need to know, there's more to this. You can't just go around harassing people.
You know, the legislative session just started, so you should definitely look into that and, articulate your position like you are to me, to our lawmakers, so we can have a healthy discussion on it. But also alcohol as well. Law enforcement, we take a pretty strong stance with that, as you know, with our strong DUI enforcement, DUI checkpoints and all that. And yeah, you are correct. Marijuana we believe it's a gateway drug, but yes, there are people that use marijuana and alcohol. There are young people who started out drinking alcohol and, led them in other things. So we're not saying that marijuana is the gateway drug or the only gateway drug. We're just saying that's one of the more prolific drugs that are out there.
Oh, and I understand your stance, and I don't specifically disagree with you. I think it's just my reasoning for why that happened is probably different than yours. And I think I'm trying to argue that my reason for why that happened is prohibition, which means that can be ended as the case rather than it being permanently that way. And your stance is it's always like that. And I think that's where our main disagreement in philosophy is. But my stance is that prohibition led to that, and your stance is it's just that way. I think that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's fine. That's not a problem. But anyway, I appreciate you calling. We've gotten a lot of feedback since this morning's press conference via social media as well. And I know there's two different stances on it. And, like you said, that's what makes our country great. You have your First Amendment right to speak your mind on the issue. That's why I suggest, if you do want to make a difference or get your voice heard, I would make sure you get down to Annapolis, and see if you can talk in a open session.
I hear you. Thank you for telling me about that. I appreciate it. And it was good talking to you. Thank you for taking your time out to actually listen to me. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem, though. So you have a good weekend.
You too, sir. Have a good day.
Okay, man.
Bye-bye.